We're almost there.
Yeah, when we get rolling, I'm going to mute everybody. So be prepared to unmute if you need to say something.
All right. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Hold on one second. I got some kind of echo. Can y'all still hear me?
Yes.
I can't hear anybody. Can you? Jesse,
I can
you
hear
say something?
people. Daniel,
No,
can you?
hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you, Daniel.
469-601-7607. Can you let us know who you are?
Hi, this is Denise.
Hey, Denise.
Hi.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Buckner Terrace Homeowners Association meeting. Give us 1 second. We got a couple more people coming in. Mr. White, our treasurer, is coming in. Current treasurer, outgoing treasurer.
I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody now. So if you have something you'd like to say, just hit unmute first, please.
All right. Again, thank you and welcome to the Buckner Terrace Homeowners meeting on November 29th, 2022. Here I have 2023 on my thing. And we have some special guests this evening. We have some folks from Forward Dallas that are visiting us, and they'll give us a little presentation in just a little bit. And we have some folks from Lee. Help me out. Michoacana, I think. Hopefully, I didn't butcher it too badly. On their presentation for a proposed store. So, if you give me just one moment, we will get started. I'm going to share my screen for a moment to share the agenda and the minutes. And then hold on 1 second. All right, 1 second. All right, I am sharing my screen right now. All right, so tonight we're going to welcome and introductions. We're going to first approval of the minutes from the last meeting. So I have them on the screen. So I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the October 25th, 2022 homeowners meetings. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All right, I get Michelle Carson, seconded by
Jesse.
Any discussion? Any questions? With no discussions, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And then we have an amended treasurer's report that Mr. White presented. on October 25th. He corrected it that night. He told us about it, but he corrected the document. So that's what we're presenting here. That had an ending balance of $1,684.88. We'll take a motion for approval. Was that Patty? Miss Patty or Denise?
Yes,
Denise, Denise with the motion and Patty with the second. Any discussion? All right, with no discussion, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, the next thing on the agenda, well, actually, Mr. White has got his new treasurer's report. I've got it in a new format here. And the beginning balance was $1,684.88. We had $400 in deposits, which included 6 memberships and 2 donations. The expenses, there were 3 expenses, $1,360.49, with leaving us an ending balance of $869.39. Just to give you this was National Night Out expenses that we incurred for the majority of that cost, but we can always have a breakdown if anybody wants more further details. Just let our treasurer know. If you send an email to info@bucknerterrace.org, you can get any of that information that you would like. All right. So any questions? We'll take a motion on that treasurer's report at the next meeting.
Daniel,
Yep, sir.
there's something there, the deposits,
Uh-oh.
$400.
Oh, that was just donations, wasn't it?
Yes, the deposits were $545,
Okay.
and the rest of it,
The numbers are correct. I did the wrong. I totaled it up wrong. I'll correct it.
everything else cross-splits correctly.
I know the ending balance is correct, but I'll correct the total before we vote on it at the meeting.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Excellent. Thank you for bringing that up. All right. So the next item on the agenda is the official nomination and approval of the slate of the 2023 officers. Currently, the officer slate is myself as the chair. Co-chair would be Derek Carson, secretary Jesse Armstrong, and treasurer Denise Jones. Does anybody have any other nominations that they would like to bring forward? Nobody wants to? Nobody? Come on now. It's fun. Yes, Miss Hill. You need to unmute yourself.
I just
There
had
you
a question in regards to the term limit. Is there a limit on as far as terms for
There's
any of the
not.
positions?
There's not.
If you'd like to be secretary, let me know.
I don't want to be secretary either. But no, there is not currently a limit on the terms. So thank you. Any other questions? Anybody have any nominations that they would like to bring forward? All right. With that being said, we'll take a motion to approve the slate of officers.
I'd like to make a motion, we accept the nominees presented.
Thank you, Mr. White. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Miss- All right, I saw Michelle Carson seconding it. Any discussion? All right, with no discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you for everybody that has volunteered to step up and serve. We have 2 new folks serving this year, so we greatly appreciate that. So thank you for Mr. White for serving for so many years. We appreciate that. Mr. Mack is not with us this evening, but he has also served the neighborhood for many years. So we appreciate that as well. So thank you and welcome Denise and Derek to the team. Your terms will officially start in January. So between now and January, I know Denise is going to work with Mr. White to get the transition of the financials moved over. Other than that, we will move forward with that. All right. So the next thing on our agenda would be our neighborhood crime watch. Do we have anybody from NPOs here? We do. Morale. Anybody want to NPO? Anybody want to talk?
Yes, I'm sorry.
There she is. How you doing?
Sorry, technical difficulties over here.
Oh, you're all right. Welcome and
Uh,
thank you for coming.
No problem. So just real quick, I have just the stats for Southeast, and then I'll read you the ones for the city and then Southeast, and then I'll go a little bit into some of the stuff that happened in the neighborhood the last month. So for the whole city of Dallas last year on person, they went down, crime went down by 4.74%. On property, it increased by 2.5%. On society, it decreased by 3.91%. Overall, crime went down by 0.35 in the city. Now, in the Southeast area, crime on person last year was at 5,290. This year is 4,961. That's a decrease of 6.2%. On property, last year was at 6,470. Year to date is 6,560 with an increase of 1.39. Society, last year was 2,253. This year is 1,785 with a decrease of 20.77%. Overall, there has been a decrease of 5.5% in the whole city. Now in the Buckner Terrace area, for last month, there was in the 4,600 of Hazelhurst, there was an UUMB. There was another incident of 5,000 Enchanted, where it was theft of property, where somebody tried to break into the vehicle. On Ashburg, there was another person that broke into a vehicle and tried to take it, but they were not successful about that because the owner caught them. And there were just a couple of arrests down on Samuel. You know, people just driving reckless in the neighborhood, just on Samuel. Just one real quick, there was an incident on Banting Way, where I guess, like, it seems like it was an elderly person, what they paid like a contractor, and the contractor just took their money. So just heads up, I guess whenever you're gonna do something in your area or your house, make sure that you either trust the person who recommend you that contractor, or that it's a legit contractor, because there's people being scamming a lot of people, and then it'll be hard for that person to get their money back. So that's all I got.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for our NPO? Seeing no questions. Thank you very much for presenting. I just wanted to give a couple neighborhood updates real quick. We did serve our neighbors took food to the fire department on Thanksgiving Day, and they were very grateful and very thankful for the generosity of the community as a whole. And one thing that we noticed when we were there, their TV stopped having sound. So with our partners at Walmart, we bought them a brand new TV, a big 65-inch TV for their kitchen area or the dining area. And I picked it up and delivered it yesterday. So we thank our friends at Walmart and thank everybody here for, I mean, that was, I might have been the one that did it, but it was only because we have the community that is supportive of the neighborhood association. So we collectively have done this. And when I go there, this is from the Buckner Terrace Neighborhood Association. It's not from Daniel, it's from the neighborhood association. So they always know that. And they were very, very, very grateful. So they were having a good time hooking it up. It was quite the challenge. So it was funny, but I did that last night and they were thankful. So anytime anybody wants to go join them, they welcome company at the station periodically. Now they can't always be there, but stop in, say hi, drop off some cookies, drop off a cake. They love the interaction from our community. And I've got to say that Buckner Terrace always steps up for our first responders. So thank you for that. I think that says a lot about our neighborhood and a lot about our neighbors that they're there. Somebody that snuck in after we got going, Councilman Basil Dua, welcome to the meeting this evening. Did you want to say anything before we got to our next thing? We've got the next two things that we have on the schedule are neighborhood Forward Dallas and a proposed zoning case. So if you'd like to maybe either introduce either or one or the other or both, I'll give you a chance if you'd like to speak.
Thank you, Daniel. And hello, everyone. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. Thank you all for being here on your Tuesday evening. This is a good attended meeting for November, so I'm happy to see y'all here. A big reason would be because there is a proposed zoning case that is here in the community, and it's always important to hear feedback so that I know what to do at City Hall. So just excited to be here to hear your feedback, to answer questions, to hear concerns, to hear any questions to be answered. We have just about anybody here on the call to answer those questions that you do have. And thank you, Daniel, for, of course, your leadership with getting us together here with everybody in the neighborhood, and also for orchestrating the meal for our firefighters. So I won't keep us any longer, but I just want to hear back from the community. This is a process that has just been started. Nothing has happened yet, just so everyone is aware. That's why I thought it was important for us to get here before any votes were taken, before any actions were had at City Hall. And let's hear from the community. Let's start this conversation. And we do have the Honorable Rick Callahan here on the call with us as well. I do want to make sure and mention him. Thank you for being here, Rick. And I know that you're going to be a part of the conversation for Michoacana. So without that, I'll turn it back over to you, Daniel, and let you go from there.
Excellent. We got B. Morales. Did you have a question yet? Or I see your hand is up. No. All right. With that being said, we do one last person that is with us is our community prosecutor, Tommy, would like to address and tell us a couple things, I guess. Mr. Tommy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello,
everybody. How's everybody doing? I just wanted to give a little bit of an update. So I'm one of the community prosecutors for I'm some District 7, some District 9, so kind of a little bit of Buckner Terrace. I wanted to give an update on, and Dan Riebensdorf's here on the call also, I believe. I just wanted to give an update on Tiger Cabaret, because I know that's been an issue that everyone's been wanting to know what's going on with it. CP actually accepted that as a new case today. I know we've had cases there before, but we have a new detective that's new into CP. And we're hoping that we're going to be able to address some of the issues over there. So we're going to have a meeting hopefully within the next week or so with their ownership and try and figure out what our options are over there to reduce some of their crime. And I know everyone wants to see it close. I don't know if I can promise you that, but I know that we're going to try and figure out what our options are with Tiger Cabaret. But we have reopened our case with them. So I just wanted to give that update because I know that's something that's a big problem. I live in Buckner Terrace also, so I'm very well aware of Tiger Cabaret and all the issues over there. So I just wanted to give that update to everybody. And if you have questions for me for our office, I can leave my information in the chat, or Daniel can always send my information out. If there's other properties,
I got his personal cell phone, y'all.
Yeah, and well, don't give that one out. But so what we do, for people who don't know exactly what CP does, we deal with dilapidated properties, high crime properties, and properties that have fallen into disarray, where the property owners have not been compliant with code compliance or with fire or with DPD to address their issues. So we at the city attorney's office deal with those properties and can escalate the enforcement and file lawsuits if necessary, do other things to get compliance, to get those properties under control. So if you have a neighbor that you've been dealing with that they're never there, they have a property that's fallen apart, get in touch with me, get in touch with Daniel, and we can start seeing if we can get those properties handled. And that's what our office does. But I know that tigers have been an issue, so that's where it's something that we're on right now. I just wanted to give that update.
Can I just ask a quick question? Where's the city on the SOP lawsuit, and how will that impact Tiger?
As of right now, which lawsuit? The one about the late hour permits? Yeah, that one. They can still operate. I don't know if
it's still in litigation.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And
Sounds
yes,
good.
I saw that message. I'll put my information in the chat, my work cell and my email, and reach out to me. And especially if you have properties you need to talk about, please let me know.
So,
and we're doing a night inspection tonight. We're gonna kind of drive around and check the lighting on some of these commercial properties, check some of the residential properties. So I'm sorry for looking like this. I'm about to try and take a nap because we're going out about 10:30 tonight to try and kind of get a look at some of these properties.
Nice.
I wanted to say thank you to Tommy, and also tell all of the neighbors. I know that y'all hear us telling you to call 911, telling y'all to use 311, but I want y'all to understand how valuable of a tool community prosecution is. If there are businesses that things are happening that shouldn't be happening, if there are properties that are a nuisance, a constant nuisance, and 311 doesn't seem to be doing the trick, we do have other tools. And so it is important for us to know, don't just give up. Don't just think that we can't do anything. If you stay in communication with my office, with like Tommy said, with Daniel, he will give you his information as well. Community prosecution is a very strong tool. And some of the biggest problems that we've had here in our neighborhood that we have cleaned up over the past several years have been because of the Office of Community Prosecution. So they do great work. Let's leverage them as much as we can. I want to make sure that y'all really do realize that tool that we have here.
Thank you, Councilmember. And I wanted to add too, I'm sorry, we have a new ordinance that just passed, the habitual nuisance property. So if there's properties that don't have crime, but they're continually being a nuisance, they have more than 3 violations in a 6-month period, that can escalate our enforcement also. So we have a lot of tools in our tool belt to get after these properties. We just need to know where they are. So that's kind of where we're here, to make sure that y'all know we exist, so you can tell us that these properties exist, so we can try and clean them up. And sorry, Councilmember, didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, and I think the beauty that we as neighbors have is that Tommy is one of our neighbors. Mr. Daniel, I know that you may not be a neighbor yet, but we're building some really nice new houses over here. So, come on, join us.
Hey,
we appreciate having neighbors.
It sounds great over there. I know Tommy's talking about it all the time. I think some for sale signs might be out there. I might nab them up.
There you go. There you
And
go.
I,
It's a
I
good
just want to
time.
introduce, I had the pleasure of meeting a few of you at the last meeting, but as they said earlier, I'm Daniel Riebensdorf. I'm District 5, but as you know, that we cover, Tommy and I are kind of splitting Buckner Terrace. But they kind of, between Councilmember Basil Dua and Tommy, I think they pretty much covered everything. Just 311, 911, any calls that you make really, really helps out. And like Tommy said, just knowing where these problems are, you know, y'all are our eyes down there. So it's very helpful. Anything that you see or can call in, you know, we're here for you. So very nice to meet you all. And I'll put my contact info in the chat as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Miss Jarrett has been patiently awaiting with her hand up. Miss Debbie, do you have a question?
Actually, hi, Daniel. I actually
How
do
you
not have
doing?
a question. I just wanted to let you guys know that code compliance is definitely on the call.
Excellent. Thank you. Does anybody have any code compliance questions or things that they would like contact? I know Miss Jarrett is new to our neighborhood. So she is our new person. So I'm sure, hopefully none of us will really see her except for at these meetings, but at least that's my hope. So, all right, excellent. So nobody really has any questions. Thank you for joining us. One thing that I can do, I do know that code compliance is working on one of the bulk trash haul off days like we had at Edna Row last January, I think, is when we had it. We're working on setting up the date for that. So we appreciate that. Miss Jarrett, I don't know if you're the one in charge of that, but I know somebody in your group is working on, you know, an upcoming day.
I'll try it off for you guys.
Excellent. So when we do that bulk, that trash day where we bring the dumpster and people can bring the batteries and the paint and all that stuff, the paper shredding and all that kind of stuff, I think we're going to try to do a cart wrangle up all the carts in the neighborhood as well. So that's something that we'll try to, you know, work on to get all of them like, hey, we've got a trailer and we're going to pick them up all over. Walmart picks up about 70 or 80 of those carts a week. But we still have some lingering ones that seem to never go away. So we definitely want to address that if we can. So if we know where they're at, again, text the Buckner Terrace neighborhood or email info@bucknerterrace.org, and I'll pass those off to the store manager because I do have a running list that I try to give her when I have a couple of them on there. So let me know if you have any of those. All right, without further ado, we are going to hear from Monique Ward, who is with Forward Dallas. She works with a friend of mine named Sandra Bowie. So she asked for a little bit of time. So let's give her some time, and she's going to tell us about Forward Dallas and what they're all about.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Here because Sandra is taking a little extended holiday, but she wanted to send everybody holiday wishes. I wanted to see if I could share my screen. Is that okay, Daniel?
Jesse, can you give access?
I will try to figure that out. One second.
Okay, hold on.
Uh-oh.
It's all right.
Or I could email the presentation to you right quick.
It's
Okay, I changed it so that you can do
Okay,
it
let's
now.
see.
There you go.
Let's see here. Okay, hold on here. All right, 1 second. Let me just start this at the beginning. One moment here. Can you guys see that? Can you see anything?
Yes, we
Can
can
you
see. Sorry, we couldn't find that address.
Oh, okay. Let me stop sharing that. Let me try that again. I hate trying to share this. Would it be easier if I emailed it to you real quick, Daniel? Okay, can you see that?
Nope.
No, okay. I hate trying to use that one.
What email do you want to, what email do you want to send it to?
I can send it to yours, Daniel. Will that work?
Yep.
Okay, let me do that real quick.
Yeah, you're cutting out. I can't hear you.
Okay.
Okay, hold on one.
Okay. See if that'll let me. I'm sorry, y'all. This is just hard to get it to do on Zoom. Our building doesn't really love Zoom as much. They try to really not let us do this. So let's see. I'm gonna try copying this link and sending it to you, Daniel, real quick. Did you have anything else you wanted to cover right quick?
I'm sorry.
Did you have anything else you wanted to discuss right quick? And
No, I have.
okay.
So are you trying to?
I was trying to pull up a PowerPoint presentation. Right
Okay,
quick.
did you email it to me?
I'm trying to do that right this second.
I didn't get anything. I got something from you that said that what it was going to be, and you know I told you I was going to be out of town from.
Okay. All right, here it comes, Daniel. All right. There we go. I can do this. Did you get it?
You have to give me access to it, it said.
Oh, doggone it. I was afraid of that. Let me try this one last little bit here.
Can you send it to my city email?
Oh, sure. What is that? Daniel.wood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, gotcha.
Sorry, folks, for one more second.
Technology. Make sure I spelled it properly. At Dallas City Hall. All right, there you are. Here it comes.
There we go. Whoop, not yet. Oh, it didn't let me there either.
Oh no, uh-oh. Let's see.
I mean, we can see this right now.
Oh, okay.
We can see it now.
Yeah, because I
Oh, you
can
can see it now.
Yep, yep,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay, cool.
If you present it, will it go full screen?
I'm trying to, that's what I was trying to make it do.
So if you, do you see that little arrow, that little caret on the right column, on the right side? The
Not
carrot
in the
going,
sharing box. On my, where? On the,
I wonder if on your PowerPoint, on the ribbon across the top, you see where it says
Yes.
manual clarification, Adobe Acrobat sign. Do you see that carrot to the right of that? Click on that.
ooh, okay, hold on. Why is this not doing this? Shoot. It is not
Is it frozen?
So can you advance it? Can you scroll?
Yeah.
Okay, just
Oh,
go ahead. Just go
okay.
ahead and start. Just go ahead and start.
Okay, all right, I'm okay. Pardon my technical difficulties, everyone. My name is Monique Ward, and I'm one of the chief planners here in planning and urban design at the city. And I just wanted to really provide just an overview for you all tonight about what Fort Dallas is and what that might mean for communities like Buckner Terrace, and to just encourage you, I'll say this a few times, to participate and make sure that your input is considered and included in this process. Next slide, please. So I want to just also tell you a little bit about planning and urban design, because people have different ideas.
Just 1 second. Next slide would be you advancing it.
Oh, I thought you were saying that you guys could advance it.
No, ma'am. You just have to scroll
Okay.
down. Scroll down one. Hit the arrow down.
Okay.
Is it not letting
Or
you?
click the second slide over there on the left.
That is not working. I don't know why it doesn't. I apologize for this, but let me talk you through this because it is not cooperating. Let's see. So, and I'll send this presentation to you afterward. So, but what I wanted to make sure that you know.
If we're not going to see the presentation, why don't you just give us an overview and we'll stop sharing at this point? If we're going to look at the same thing. So let's go ahead and stop sharing.
Okay.
All right. So now we'll just walk us through what the basics of it are. And then we can give you time in January to come back and
I really wanted to actually, more importantly, I wanted to talk about having you guys have a little bit more understanding of this in general, and then schedule a time in January for maybe your January meeting to actually have thought about it and maybe have some ideas about the kind of input you want to provide to us.
Okay.
Okay, so a few things that I want to make sure that you know what Fort Dallas is. It is a citywide land use plan that will guide how we use public and private land and what the city should look like in the future. This is a process that we have been working on now for about a year, and we've had some meetings around the city, but this is a big city, and so we're continuing to have those meetings, and we're now trying to target certain areas and make sure that we have diverse and comprehensive input. So that's why we're reaching out to organizations and neighborhood associations like yours. This isn't the first time that we've done this plan, done this process, but it has been quite a while. It was done in 2006. So we're really building on that foundation, but of course the city has changed tremendously since then. And we've done all kinds of other plans, and this plan will work in conjunction with a number of other city plans that are not a part of this comprehensive process, like the housing plans, neighborhood plus plans that were done a few years ago, the city's racial equity plan, elements of that, the environmental plan called CCAP. So all of those components will be considered and incorporated as far as how they affect land use and, for this particular plan. And so what is land use? Land use is, in the simplest terms, is basically how we use our land. And that might be for a variety of purposes, from everything from religious, cultural, economic, agricultural, of course, your neighborhood, industrial, and then of course the important green space, parks, river, lakes, and all kinds of water facilities that we might have in our city. That's what when we say land use, that's what we're referring to. And then how does land use relate to zoning? So we talk about the use of the land and the types of activities that occur on the land. And then zoning is the actual rules that regulate how we use that land. So those are the parameters by things that code enforces in terms of that land use to protect the sanctity of the land and ensure that it is used based on the guidelines that we set forward as a city and as communities. And so as a part of this process, we're taking a look at what is existing on the ground, and then how do we take what we currently have, what we like, what we want to keep, and also look at what we want to do in the future. So we look towards having a future land use map that actually speaks to these are the parameters, these are the things, these are the ways by which we want our neighborhoods to develop, our commercial areas to develop. Our greenways, or where we want more trees, or what we want built next to each other. How dense do we want to be or not? So those are the elements that are going to be the outcomes from this planning process. And I will kind of say that the most important thing for you all is to kind of take an assessment of your neighborhood, be aware of what's working in terms of the land use. You know, commercially, do we need more green space? Do you want to see more different kinds of residential uses in your area? You know, the city is, you know, of course, trying to do more collaboration with other departments like housing. You know, there's a huge, you know, issue across the city in terms of affordability. You know, planning and urban design can't control all of those elements, but we do provide like a foundation and a framework, if you will, a parameter about how we use our land. So in general terms, I'm happy to answer any questions. And Daniel, if you can tell me that, you know, maybe we can have access to your January meeting, then we can kind of come back and get some more feedback from you all.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And I think we can make it a more robust conversation in January and some of the opportunities that we have in our community with the land use. So does anybody have any questions today for Ms. Monique? No? All right. Thank you so much for coming. And we will see you after the holiday. And
okay. We'll be in touch about that date.
Sounds good. It's the last Tuesday of the month.
Oh, okay. There you go. It's 7.
Yep.
Sounds
good. All right. Sounds good. And we will talk to you soon. All right. Without
happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you as well. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce Mr. Santos Martinez, and he's going to introduce his clients who have a proposed business to come into the community. So, Mr. Santos.
Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you guys again. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. We have on the call with us today representatives from La Michoacana Meat Market, including the owner and founder. They're on the line from Houston, Texas. We also have Rick Callahan, who's representing the property owner. And I'll go through the slides. I don't know if he's set up, or I just say to advance the slides to give you an idea of where we're trying to develop and what we'd like to do. So if we can go to the first slide. We've got several, we got about 20 slides to give you an idea of where we are in the neighborhood and what we'd like to do. If we could go to the next slide. This is the vacant lot right next to Fox Fuel at St. Francis and Buckner. It's about 3 acres. And I know in conversations from the past, we've been looking at trying to rezone the property. If you go to the next slide, it is zoned neighborhood services, which limits retail. It allows retail, but the retail establishments are limited to 3,500 square feet. And you'll notice the blue cross on the property, which also means that if anybody wanted to sell alcohol, they have to get a permit from the city council prior to their ability to sell. Whether it's a restaurant or a store, the city council would have to review that application and grant an approval before they could make a sale. There have been some people interested in the property in years past, from a Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, Dollar General. And I know when we were looking at Fox Fuel and getting that rezoned, there was a conversation about doing this neighborhood service as a CR. And there was a lot of hesitancy to just do a blank check and give it the right for commercial without knowing what could be there, what would be there. And so with this application, we not only have a potential tenant, but a site plan as well that would like to take this property over. If we can go to the next slide. To give you some bearings, it's the vacant lot right off Buckner, high visibility, right off the corner of St. Francis with the Fox Fuel on the hard corner. But you still have over 3 acres, right about 3 acres that would be great for commercial ventures to come in. If we go to the next slide. This is the proposed layout for a new Michoacana meat market. And there's a couple things I'd like to point out. Michoacana meat market is roughly 15,000 square feet, which is a store size that makes it bigger than a CVS or a Walgreens. CVS and Walgreens range from 11 to 13,000 square feet, just to give you perspective. So I know you've got one at Jim Miller and Samuel. So this footprint for the Michoacana meat market would be a bit bigger than that CVS that's on the corner. You also see in this a site plan potential for another 4,000 square feet of additional retail or personal services. And there are businesses that would like to be near a grocer that you've seen if you've been to a Michoacana meat market, whether it's an office or another retailer, a small retailer. We're going to build out that space for potential operators to come in, but that's about 4,000 square feet. So it's total just under 20,000 square feet of new commercial retail activity on the property. If we can go to the next slide. So to the right is an alley, and there's single family on the other side of that alley. And the code says that if you're going to have commercial adjacent to residential, you need to have at least a 6 foot tall solid fence. And what we've identified here in red is that we were going to propose at least an 8 foot tall solid fence to go beyond the required 6 foot. If you can go to the next slide. Just behind the fence, on our side of the fence, we've got a 4 feet buffer that we'd like to install bamboo as well. So you'll still see that there's a large buffer area of landscaping and trees, and I'll go through that in a moment. But I wanted to clarify that right along the fence line, we've got a 4 foot spacing where we could put a brand new bamboo on our side of the fence so it doesn't bleed over across the alley. If we can go to the next slide. There's been some conversations, I know you guys are familiar with it, where folks would come out to shopping centers and start doing donuts and bringing cars together. What we'd like to do is provide spaces in the parking lot where they can't do cut throughs and they can't do that. And so it's been recommended that we look at just providing curb landscaping areas in between the parking stalls. And that's what you see there in the red circles. If we can go to the next slide. For folks to walk into the stores and the retail spaces, you'll see identified in yellow speed bumps to slow traffic down, to get folks to and from their car and to the stores without having to worry about folks cutting through at a high rate of speed. If we can go to the next slide. I've shown our dumpster highlighted in navy. That's on the southwest corner of the property. That's over 600 feet away from the residential properties on the other side of the alley to an actual bedroom. And so trying to be cognizant of being a good neighbor and putting that element as far as we can away from single family. If we can go to the next slide. So the city is going to require as us to develop this property a number of new trees. And this is roughly over 40 new trees. One of the species being proposed is a southern magnolia. We've got a proposed 15-foot buffer along the alley, which I think provides ample room for these type of species. But you can see that there's a lot to be blended in throughout the property. And that's just of the large site trees. If you can go to the next slide. We still have smaller ornamental trees that we'd like to plant in the area. They represent over 240 trees, but you'll notice it's heavily along the Buckner frontage and also into our parking areas. We still have landscape zones in front of the store but I wanted to highlight at least these two species where we can sprucing up the property with our required landscaping. And also, if there's different types of species the neighbors would like to see, we're looking at a dwarf wax myrtle and also the magnolias on our property. If we can go to the next slide. For those of you, I think are most familiar with La Michoacana Meat Market, there's a standard profile that you have of our buildings, a very clean Southwest type style. This is the front of a different store, but you're going to see this same type of branding on all of our locations. If we can go to the next slide. And you'll notice in the name of our meat market, there's a large selection to choose from for patrons who come in. It's a very busy part and functionality of our store, in addition to all the other services that we provide. If we can go to the next slide. So besides the meat service center, we also have bakeries as well. My family was not able to get together on Thanksgiving because everybody was going different directions. But when we got on Saturday, my job was to bring desserts. So I went to the Michoacana Meat Market in Irving on our way to my parents' house and got the tres leches cakes and the pies because they've got great variety in addition to sweet bread. If we can go to the next slide. In addition to the meat market and the bakery, we also have a small indoor dining area for guests, great for breakfast tacos or for lunch. A great variety of choices that you have. This is provided in all of our stores. If we can go to the next slide. And this is typical of every Michoacana meat market, regardless whether it's in Dallas, it's in Irving, it's in Houston, it's in San Antonio. You're going to see the same style. It's a very clean store, a variety of products, well stocked and cleaned throughout. If we can go to the next slide. I know there's been a lot of conversations, and not just in Buckner Terrace, but in other parts of the city, of the ability for residents to find fresh fruits and vegetables. And Michoacana, as a grocer, has a fine selection of fresh produce that's brought into its stores daily. And if we can go to the next slides. In addition to that, also fruits as well. And so I think having waited as long as the neighborhood has wanted to make sure that this site gets developed, I think having a Michoacana meat market for this location is, I think, going to be a good neighbor and a long-term good neighbor for Buckner Terrace. If we can go to the last slide, if there's any questions, I'm happy to address those. So if there's anyone from the Michoacana team that would like to add anything that I may have missed, they're all on call. They're in Houston. Sorry, we're going for a little fast, but I know you guys also run a tight ship on as far as time.
Excellent. Thank you for that presentation. And we'd welcome a conversation from y'all in Houston. How y'all doing? Thank you for being patient through our technical difficulties.
Looks like they want to say something, but they're muted.
Yep. They should be on the phone call. Can you hear us? You can hear us. We can't hear you yet.
I have a question, Daniel.
Yes, ma'am.
I had a question for Mr. Martinez.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
My first question would be, what would be the purpose or the benefit for Buckner Terrace to have an additional store in this area?
I think there's several. Number one, as a grocer, that Michoacana Meat Market provides a proximity to this part of Buckner Terrace off of a very busy state thoroughfare. I think that's helpful long term. I know that you've got a number of apartments and single family in this part of the neighborhood that are trying to provide an additional option for baked goods for your normal grocery experience. I think this is ideal. I think the other benefit you have is that there's an additional option for more neighborhood retail office that may be missing on this part of Buckner Terrace that would almost be expected as it's right off of Buckner Boulevard. But I think, everybody who comes into Buckner Terrace has a level of understanding to be a good neighbor, a long-term good neighbor. I think that's something that is expected with all new businesses that want to be partners with Buckner Terrace. But I think your overall grocery options for fresh produce and vegetables and fruits, your meat selections as well, and having that convenience on this part of the neighborhood without having to go across the annual, I think is important for folks to have.
Okay. My second question, I recently visited your store Thanksgiving Eve. One of the
Okay.
things that I noticed that several of the cashiers could only speak Spanish. The
Okay.
store's gate was gendered toward the Hispanic community,
Uh-huh.
and then very pricey. I wound up buying a watermelon, which is like $10, and it tastes like nothing. But nevertheless, that's what I've noticed on several experiences where I've gone there or to avoid going to Walmart or several other stores. I've noticed that it just more or less like a specific race. That's what it looks like. It's more focused towards me. So I don't necessarily see the benefit of having two of the same store locations when I never see that one overly busy. And I frequently, again, I frequent this store quite frequently and looking for stuff, and usually I can never find what I'm needing, just trying to avoid the actual Walmart store.
I think you hit some of the experiences that other grocers are going to have, is that they don't want to go to the Walmart and they want to look for things that you don't want to go through those big crowds. And I will say that just from my experience, I think that you're right, that if it's in the name Michoacana Meat Market, I think most folks would feel comfortable going there who are looking for things that maybe from other communities that they grew up in, now that they're in Dallas, that they're trying to find and connect back with their neighborhoods. I also think that it's not surprising to see clerks who speak Spanish and English. In fact, I think it's encouraged that you be able to be bilingual on your staff. But I feel that there's still a benefit to this store on this part of Buckner Terrace that would be helpful to the neighborhood.
Well, that's the thing. They weren't bilingual. They could only speak Spanish. They couldn't communicate with me at all. And the whole purpose, I'm a Dallas native. There was nothing there that I was looking for that I could buy or that I wanted to utilize in my cooking. So that's why I felt like it was a disadvantage.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood you. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
And I think with your last point you said about pricing, I know that everything is a bit on the higher end, regardless of where you go, for all goods. I mean,
Santos, I could address that if you'd like.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, council member, for convening this meeting. My name is Jacob Monte, and I'm the general counsel for La Michoacana. I think you all got a view for what we think the market will look like. But what I wanted to give you is some background on the company, and I'll certainly address some of the questions that were raised. First off, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Wood. Santos, you did a good job. Thank you for this opportunity to address. What we're proposing is a zoning change, and this market will be different than really any other market than we've developed, because we're really addressing some of the issues that you all have raised regarding sound, regarding features to prevent donuts or congregating in the parking lot. We're really seeking to customize this market for the community. Let me give you some background on the company. The company was started in 1986 by Rafael and Elvira Ortega. They now have grown to over 240 markets. I think that's a plus because we're a big company. We have sales of almost $1 billion, but it's still family owned. And this is a company that takes its commitment as an employer seriously. We invest in the community. We have a foundation that has given out more than $3 million in grants and scholarships throughout the state of Texas. This is a community that we care about. We have over 50 stores in the Dallas area, and we share our profits with that community. And we would like to, embrace this community as well. Regarding some of the questions that came up, increasingly more and more of our customers are Anglo and African American, and we are so proud of that. Initially, we started out mainly serving the Hispanic market, but the secret has been our marinated fajita meat, and that is selling increasingly more to Anglos and African Americans, and we're very proud of that. Our sales to non-Hispanics has gone up tremendously, and we do need to get more bilingual folks in the market. We'll address that. It's been hard to hire folks right now, but your point is well taken. We need more bilingual folks because increasingly more and more of our customers are not Spanish speaking. So we certainly will look to hire more bilingual folks. The other thing that's interesting is you all will have access to the leadership at La Michoacana and to the owners of La Michoacana. This is unlike Family Dollar or Walmart, where if there's a problem, you're not going to be able to pick up the phone and talk to the owners. If there's a problem, you're going to be able to talk to the Ortegas. And that's the beautiful thing about having a big company that's still owned by the family. And I'll certainly address any other questions that come up, but we again just are grateful for this opportunity. We think that we would love to be part of your community. Oh, the other thing I will say, the store across the highway is doing great. This community can support both stores. The other store won't close. So I know there was some concern about if we open this store, would the other store close? We've done the demographic studies and we can support both stores. We're very confident of that. And we look forward to being able to be a store that can serve the entire community, and hopefully you all consider this variance request. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. We appreciate that. Does anybody have any questions?
I think Denise had her hand up.
Yeah, I'm still just kind of concerned though about the locations, because I just feel that, like the other neighbor said, they're very, very close together. And so I'm not understanding. And if you want to do something, why not invest your money in renovating that store as opposed to just, building another one?
Yeah, that store is doing great. It's profitable. The problem with it is that studies have shown that people want to be closer to the store, and with having a big freeway in between them and the store, they won't cross and go there. So, just study after study shows that you need to be within about a mile without a barrier from your grocery store to your house. Otherwise, you're not going to transverse and buy at the other store. So we feel very confident that we can support both stores. It's a huge investment for us, several $1 million, but we feel like it will pay off because the demographics are there to support both stores.
Excellent. Thank you. Cindy?
Yeah, so I just wanted to echo what Tracy was saying. I actually live in that part of the neighborhood. Buckner Terrace is a huge neighborhood. And I am concerned because I feel like the neighborhood is incredibly diverse. And obviously I'm more familiar with my part of the neighborhood, and again, I live there. Like I'm right by this lot that you're looking to build on. And I just, I'm concerned that you wouldn't be catering to the diversity of the neighborhood, with your products. And so I would hope that, you said you've done some demographic studies. So, and I believe you, but so I hope that would be represented in the products that you carry in your store.
Cindy, that's a great point. And one of the ways that you'll start seeing that we are catering to the demographics is our in-store radio. in a lot of these mixed communities will be in English and in Spanish. And you'll have signs in English, where appropriate. I think the biggest issue that we're having is really a lack of staffing, because of the labor shortage, but we certainly need more bilingual cashiers, and we're constantly trying to hire more. But rest assured, it's not only the right thing to do, it makes economic sense to cater to everyone, because when we get African Americans and Asians, even Asians are increasingly a big consumer group for us. So the name may sound Mexican, and it certainly is. We're proud of our heritage, but we want everyone's business, and we want to be that grocer for everyone. So, but rest assured, we take our commitment seriously to serve everyone, and if you give us the opportunity, we will show you that we can be a store for everyone.
And I appreciate that. And I just want to, again, make my point that, and I understand the bilingual part of it, but also just, again, reiterating the products you carry, that it is for the neighborhood and not just targeted to one demographic.
I heard you, and we will definitely address that. Oftentimes, we just need customers to ask for product, and we can show you examples where the product mix for La Michoacana varies. It's not the same product everywhere throughout the state of Texas. It varies. We need people to chime in. Hey, we need some of this product. Increasingly, we've gotten requests for Kashi cereal, which is something that we typically wouldn't have sell, but we have stores in Houston that are asking for it, and my gosh, we're stocking Kashi. So it takes for people to comment and ask for stuff, but and I would just say we're doing it because it's the right thing to do, but it also makes economic sense to offer more diversity of products. But we hear you loud and clear there.
Okay, thank you for your comments. I appreciate it.
What is the process for requesting items to be carried in the stores?
Great point, Jesse. All of that's handled with the store manager and the district manager, and we have a form where you just just a form where you ask for product, and like it happened with the Kashi scenario, we had 4 or 5 requests, and I mean this is a demographic in Houston that is a mixed community, but it's selling a lot of barbacoa and Kashi and a lot of fruit, so it just varies. The other thing that, another example of that is we've also had juice bars added to some of the stores. We don't have it in every store, but juicing is expensive, but if there's a demand for fresh juices, we can set up a juice bar in there also, and we've done that in many stores. It kind of it requires people chiming in. We also have a website where people can chime in, but candidly, most of the action comes when you fill out the form asking for a product, and those forms are in the store.
Hey, Daniel.
Excellent. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Santos.
I just want to point out that we have not formally made our application to the city of Dallas. We are in the process of getting that application finalized to submit. I just want everyone to know that if you were even to submit a zoning application now at the city of Dallas, it would not get to a P&Z hearing until the spring, more likely April or May. So there's still a lot of time we've got to deal with staff and pushing this through to ultimately have the right to develop on this property. And so we're bringing this to you ahead of time before we've actually submitted. And so that's why you've not seen zoning signs on the property. But I do want to point out that we do have access along Buckner Boulevard. There's also an access easement that takes us to St. Francis behind Fox Fuel, and so that folks can get to the light at St. Francis. And so that it's not just jamming. Oh, I'm sorry. At least
there is no light. I was going to say there is no light.
Right. I know there's been conversations. I know there's been conversations about a signal there at that intersection, but this would allow folks to come in, make a left on St. Francis to get into the property through that access easement. But I do want folks to feel that this is, I think, ideally how Buckner Terrace would like things to happen is to let them know up front before an application is submitted. And so I don't want you to see that hey, we're turning this in tomorrow, it's because the city is still backlogged on a number of its zoning cases. I know that there's a comment about El Rancho store. I just want to point out, if you go down Buckner Boulevard, there is another Michoacana meat market south of Elam, before you get to Lake June, and it, I believe, does quite well. It's right across the street from El Rancho.
It's actually a Rio Grande, though, to be
It's a Rio
clear.
Grande.
I think ultimately, though, you'll see that this store is very compatible and competitive with other large grocers in the area, and you'll see it on Buckner Boulevard as well. If there's
Hey, Santos.
Yes.
I'd like to just also add some context. Just to be clear, food deserts are defined by the FDA on what demographic and geographic location that has 100 homes or more of houses without cars that have been identified that doesn't have access to fresh groceries within a half-mile radius. So I understand the concept of thinking that they're concentrated. Food insecurity is something that I strongly feel for wanting to solve. I also understand the demographic concern, and I do believe that they will work with the community as far as addressing specific products. However, I also want to remind everyone that this is literally right around the corner from the largest public high school in the state of Texas that is 77% Hispanic in their demographic. It's also right next to a lot of multifamily dwelling, and many of which are lower socioeconomic, that are public transit dependent. So just as that Rio Grande store further up in north on Buckner has an opportunity to help break up those gaps in where there isn't access to fresh produce and access to better quality food. It was a concern of mine even when, right before I got on council, when that case right there at Forney Road and Buckner was coming up with 7-Eleven. And I worked actually with this particular consultant with Santos and wanting to see if we can get some fresh produce and fruit at that 7-Eleven. And that was something that we worked out as a neighborhood, as a deal with that 7-Eleven that's outside of the box on what they normally would offer, because I wanted to make sure that students that are walking home in mass had an option to walk in and not just get what I saw as a teacher, which was just junk, because that's all they had an option to get. So I believe this to be an upgrade. And I will say that because I want you to know what it's zoned for now. And I would like, Santos, if you don't mind, can you touch on what could go there with what it is zoned there now? So without going through a zoning application and to go through the real estate broker and to just purchase this land and not have to do what we're doing tonight. There is the opportunity for a developer to come in and do different uses like we see right across Buckner, like a smoke shop, like different uses that exist just because of the zoning that is there now, like the bodegas that we were talking with community prosecution earlier with. We end up having to get them, holding them accountable. So I don't want to ever allow for perfect to be the enemy of good. And I always want to give a perspective for, the neighborhood to realize that this is a vacant lot right now, a vacant lot that we could improve for the neighborhood. And right now is an opportunity for, this is when you have the control as neighbors to provide that input and see how we can mold that to be something that's going to be best for the community. But we're not gonna get a Whole Foods right there. We're not going to get an HEB. We've had HEB that has been holding on that land at Buckner and Forney for 10 years now. And so if we have people that are willing to make the purchase, make the investment, bring us better quality than this vacancy that we have that just collects debris and trash right now, I would like for us to explore it in an open mind and an opportunity for us to bring in an asset to the community. So that's my perspective. And I wanted to give you guys just a little bit of context specifically to the food insecurity component. And I do believe that when it comes to the actual product, that we're going to make sure that there is absolutely, it's going to be catering to all demographics, because we are absolutely a diverse community. But having a Latin grocery store isn't a bad thing, especially if it's a quality grocery store, and that's where the problem is. And I also want to say, to that note, my office and I have dug into the code violations and the health inspections of all of their stores, not just in and around our district, but all over the city of Dallas, from further down closer to Duncanville, all the way north Dallas. And they are good neighbors where they exist. There has not been habitual issues. There has never been issues. I've even seen communication of emails from representatives of the company with City of Dallas to address when there have been concerns that they had to take care of. So I just want to give full transparency that I've done my due diligence. I've done my homework. I wouldn't be bringing them in front of you and telling you that this is a viable option if I didn't believe it to be so. So I wanted to offer that context.
Thank you, Councilman. I think that people think that I'm hard on potential companies coming in as well. And I hear, from neighbors all across our neighborhood, and we have a very diverse group of neighbors, and I don't care if they're documented or if they're undocumented, as some of the comments have said, that these are catering to undocumented neighbors. We have undocumented neighbors that are some of the best neighbors that I've ever had. So to me, that's insulting. And we're better than that in Buckner Terrace. And I said the same thing, do we need two of them in the same vicinity? But I see where you're talking about, you don't want to cross over a major highway. And then you look at, there's 1,000 apartments right next to this location. So will we solve not having all the Walmart carts over here? Because they're going to be able to go to a grocery store next to their apartment versus going to Walmart and pushing their buggy all the way back to their apartment. So I think that, this conversation is a great start to a conversation. As the neighbors know, we do the good neighbor agreements with all of our new companies that are coming into the neighborhood. And that's something that, we'll reach out with Santos and you guys. And our good neighbor agreement, it's never for anything individually for any one of us. Some people might think that Daniel gets all these benefits. I promise you, I could buy anything that I want compared to putting the time in that I work in the neighborhood. So it's not beneficial, for me to, get any kind of kickbacks from doing what I'm doing, because I promise you they're not there. But what I asked for, and what we usually ask for, a well-lit property, clean restrooms, honestly, real basic things. I think that you've touched on it. Our schools in our neighborhood, we have the largest high school. We have a lot of great kids there. Hopefully you can employ some of them kids. We've got a lot of families, and we do at the 2 elementary schools. We probably have 1,000 kids in the 2 elementary schools. So we want those teachers to be taken care of. Take care of our schools, take care of our community. We do National Night Out, one of the biggest national night outs in the city. We look forward to having you as a partner. Regardless if you get this store, we're gonna come across the freeway and come see you at the North Store. I get the questions as well. And some of the folks that do have some questions were not able to get onto this call tonight. This is obviously not the only time that you guys will be here. We've got some time to have some conversation, but Ms. Denise had a question. Let's go to Ms. Denise real quick.
I don't think that we're really against the grocery store itself. My only concern is, one, would be, like they said, the diversity of the products. And two, you keep saying that the stores are very profitable. Okay, where is the profit going to be? How are you going to give that back to the community?
That's a great question. And we have a foundation that meets and reviews grant requests. They can be scholarships, they can be Little League requests. We've given to hospitals. Last year alone, the total amount foundation-wide was $3 million. We totaled everything up. So it varies, but we give back to the community. We give to churches, to veterans groups. Oftentimes it's to donate meat for barbecue events. So it's sort of it varies. We've endowed some scholarships at the University of Texas for students in need. We've given to the University of Houston, to Texas A&M, and then to a lot of donations to community colleges also, because most kids in Texas are educated at the community college level. So we try to spread it out, but that's where we need help from the community, because if we don't know about, the national night out or needs, for Little League or soccer camps, we're one of the biggest funders of soccer in the Houston area, because, we get a lot of requests for that. But, maybe it's lacrosse. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you got to share info with us, and Daniel, please go, to our store. Again, regardless of whether this gets approved or not, we're still your neighbor. We want to be closer to you all, but it's not we have 50 stores in the Metroplex, so we're not going anywhere, and we want to have a relationship with this community association, regardless.
I could give a shameless plug right now, but we can't do it because if there's an open zoning case. The Buckner Terrace Neighborhood Association is actually partnering with an organization, and we're giving away about 1,900 toys to 4 elementary schools in this vicinity. Edna Rowe, Frank Guzik, Silverstein, and Bales Elementary. So it's surrounding your current store. So I'm thankful for the knowledge that you have a grant program, because that's something we take advantage of that with Walmart. They actually partner, and we've done extremely well. I think in the years that we've been submitting to Walmart's foundation, I think the neighborhood has benefited about $20,000 between Walmart and Sam's. So 7-Eleven also does the same kind of thing. But nobody, as a business owner, you're not required to give back to the community, but it says a lot about a community to give back to the surrounding area and to the schools and, the organizations. Everybody's just trying to make it. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity to get people, I think we'll touch on that in the Good Neighbor Agreement. I love the idea of doing the scholarships for Skyline. We have 4,300 kids at Skyline High School, the largest Magnan High School. It was the first Magnan High School in the country. Primary, it's probably about 85% Hispanic. So it caters to, so when we say that the stores cater to a population, they're going to cater to this population because the vast majority of our neighbors are Hispanic. So I'm a minority in the community. I'm a white person living from Wisconsin, living here. And, quite honestly, I've not had my neighbors are absolutely wonderful. I've been working with everybody here for about 10 years. And I got to say that, we have a very diverse neighborhood. It's mixed about a third, and a third. The apartments might be a little bit more skewed towards different demographics, but the homeowners in our neighborhood are really about a third, a third. So I love the opportunity that we can introduce new products. We do know that it's a specialty store, primarily a meat market, with some grocery elements. So it's going to be more expensive, like Walgreens and CVS are going to be more expensive than Walmart or a big box grocer. We know that because it's a convenience of having in a smaller store. But does anybody else have any other input, any other questions?
Daniel, I just
Personally,
wanted to
I'll make the
follow up.
trip just for the La Compera tortilla chips. Those are my
Well,
favorite.
I want to add just two things. Number one, I know it's great meats, but Tres Leches cakes is unbelievable from Michoacana. So don't forget the bakeries and the pastries. But I know the councilman had asked, what is it that can be done on the property today, and what is being asked with this request? I just want to point out the neighborhood services zoning district only allows you to do 5 things. With this request, we would go from 5 to 29 different types of businesses. Now that includes some of these businesses that would require a specific use permit, but today you could only get on 3 acres a dry cleaning store, a small convenience store, no greater than 3,500 square feet, a barbershop, a beauty salon, a restaurant without drive-through, and a fueling station like Fox Fuel, but it needs to get a permit from the council. If with this request and going from those 5 things to 29 more things, you just see a lot more variety and flexibility of what could be provided for the neighborhood outside of that. And so I think that there's some conversations we'd be happy to have. I know that some of the 29 things may not be a good fit for Buckner Terrace and this part of Buckner Terrace. And we could talk about maybe deed restricting that out. But I do want to address the question the councilman asked of what is it that could be done today? And it's probably the reason why you still see a vacant lot. I mean, because it is so limited that a barbershop, a dry cleaner, a very small convenience store, no bigger. They would say, well, Fox Fuel is a gas station plus those small breakout tenants. And so each one of those tenants is under 3,500. Fox Fuel itself is under 3,500. It's got the laundromat, which is one of the other things that is allowed. And that's why you don't see an expansion into the other 3 acres, is because it's already taken at the hard corner. And so having some flexibility to provide a good sized grocer plus some additional retail and personal service, I think is ideal, especially on this side of Buckner Terrace. But I know the councilman had asked what some of the differences would be with this request. I just wanted to highlight that. Going from 5 things that you could do to 29, it's a pretty big jump, but I do believe Buckner Terrace has been asking for nice things. And I want to reiterate, when we looked at Fox Fuel years ago and we looked at this 3 acres about just changing the zoning and opening it up, there was a lot of hesitancy, and I think for the good reason. Rather than giving a blank check for somebody to go just get a permit and build whatever, you guys have held out to say what would be a good partner for the neighborhood that we could see the application up front and work with you to make sure it's positive. And I agree with the messages that the councilman said. I reiterate some of the comments that Daniel had mentioned before, and that's why we're coming before you before our application is even submitted to the city to bring you on board, and so that we make sure we do this the right way.
I have a few comments, if I may.
You may.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel, and thank you, Buckner Terrace homeowners, as well as the leadership of La Michoacana coming here. As I have served as a councilman, I always try to provide, very positive developments for the community. I've been a commercial real estate broker in this market for about 40 years, about 37 years on my own. And we've always tried to dodge the clairvoyants and the palm readers and the tattoo places and the vapor places and tire shops and a lot of those negative type uses that there seems to be a saturation in the Southeast Dallas, Pleasant Grove area, East Dallas area. And so we didn't want to do any of that. And we've gone methodically through the list of possibilities, Family Dollar and Dollar Tree. And we've had car washes that have approached us regarding that, even churches, but churches, they can't afford to pay the price of the market value of the land. So we were relegated, as Santos mentioned, to just a very few uses there that were acceptable. So the property just continued to sit, and it's a burden on the owner because he's got to mow it, He's got to pick up the trash. He's got very expensive taxes that he has to pay annually. And so that's a challenge. But we want something that gives back to the community, that is a positive for the community. And I've watched this organization, La Michoacanas, they've gotten started and they've continued each and every year to get better and better as they go. And the stores are clean, they're well lit, their parking lots are clean. The things that they're going to do, it's going to be, the gentleman was right about several $1 million, not only to purchase the land, but also to develop that property with trees and irrigation and all the things that come along with that. Then you've got to hire employees. It's a tremendous investment. So I congratulate them for their persistence. And I wanted you to know we've been at this about 2 years. You know, we've been under contract now for the second time. The first contract was put together, I think, on or about early January of this year, and we just re-engaged recently. So what we're trying to do is going to be a very positive thing with the several jobs and reinvestment in the community, and it will serve the community well, in my view. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. And just for clarification, he is the realtor on record for this property. So of course it's going to be a great deal. So we want to make sure that, you know, just to be full disclosure, I don't disagree that, you know, we have been working on this for a long time, and we definitely want to make sure that the neighborhood as a whole are, you know, Hispanic, documented, undocumented. I don't care who they are. Whoever wants to shop at this store has the option to shop at this store, as long as the store is kept nice. So some of the things that a good neighbor agreement does, it doesn't hold water in court. It's not enforceable. But what it is we can publicly go against any of your zoning or SUP requirements. Like when you want to come for a renewal of your beer and wine liquor or alcohol sales, we can go against that and say, but they're not a good neighbor. And the council has always worked with the community, and we have never really lost a case on our support or denials along the way. So we work hard to keep good neighbors. And the only thing that we ask is that our neighbors are good, or our businesses are good to the community. Treat our neighbors with respect. Again, no matter who they are, treat them well, whether they're Black coming into a Hispanic store. I've been to this meat market on north of 30, and I don't speak very much Spanish, maybe about 4 words. And I have always been able to check out. I have always gotten a smile. I have always gotten a thank you, come again. And I've never had an issue. So the prices might be a little bit higher, but I know going in what I'm going to get. And if I want to get it, I get it. If I don't, I have the option of leaving without paying $10 for any item that is not worth it. So with that being said, does anybody else have any other questions?
And Daniel, you would know a watermelon's not going to be good until you got home. Just FYI.
Oh, I didn't say anything about a watermelon being good. I just said it was your option to pay $10.
Being sarcastic.
for it.
Let's be
Yep.
clear here.
Oh yeah. Oh no, definitely. So do we have any other questions?
Daniel, I just want to point out, I know everyone's going to leave. Like I said, we are trying to do some things above and beyond code. And so that site plan that you see, if it shows that we're going to put an 8-foot fence, we can't get our permit unless that fence is 8 feet. If it says that we're going to be putting additional landscaping in that buffer zone, our permit won't be released if we don't have those on our plan. So I think being upfront with you guys early on in the process, as we continue to work this through, if there are other things that we could talk about and trying to add, or with respect to lighting or landscaping, things of that, please let me know. But I do want folks from Buckner Terrace to know that by being upfront with this, we're also trying to make sure that it gets permitted the right way as well.
And Santos, there is an 8-foot wall there on that north side already, just so you know. And we're going to add to that, going to create a bigger buffer zone.
So that 8-foot or that fence that's currently there is falling apart. It's not a good fence. So we're gonna ask for something more substantial than that. Because that one is, it's not being maintained and it's not a good quality.
Could it be repaired? I haven't looked at it closely.
No, it's not, it's flimsy at best. And I think that it would behoove them to invest in the concrete solid wall for their benefit, as well as the community members that live right behind it. I think that that would be a much more stable option for them.
I think since we're at the very beginning of this,
We have lots of time.
yeah, we have time to make sure that it's done the right way.
And with that all being said, thank you for the presentation. Like we said,
so much.
it's obviously the first step in it's not the one call. It's not the one input. If you have any questions, concerns, please do email info@bucknerterrace.org. We will make sure that our friends at Lee Michoacana, did I say it almost right?
You said it, Daniel. You said it.
Just barely, I've been
The
struggling with
Wisconsin
that.
pronunciation.
Yeah, I'm from Wisconsin. I never had a tamale until I came here. So
I hope you took the paper off.
Yeah, well, you peel a cob of corn, so I figured that. So, but at the end of the day, we appreciate the conversation, and the La Michoacana folks and Councilman Callahan can attest. They've been trying to get to the community, and I've pushed back a little bit, saying, we want this, we want this, we want this. Councilman has heard what we're pushing back. The community concerns are already being heard. They're already addressing those concerns, and they're open to listening to more. So
we're in our 5th iteration right now. That plan you're looking at tonight, I think, is the 5th version of that.
Well, it's only the 3rd one that I've seen. So
okay,
we're okay on that, but I just know that we're working. We're gonna get there. And if it happens, it's up to the community. It's not up to me personally. It's up to the community as a whole to support or to not support this zoning request when they file it. But we invite you back to January's meeting to let us, if anybody has any further questions. We'd love to let people mull this over, get their questions in order, and bring them back. And let's just start having the conversation and get the process started. Any other questions?
Thank you for the opportunity. We'll be back in January.
Excellent.
Can you guys
Thank you,
provide
sir.
some contact information for questions in the future that we can distribute to our attendees?
Yeah,
We'll get it from Santos. Right now, Santos would be their representative directly, and then he would continue to bring it to them. But I know that at least at the reiteration, and some people can attest to that, I don't give up contacts. Like when I get their contact information and when I can, text them directly, I don't give that up, but I'll text them I'll relay text pretty well. So, we appreciate our good neighbors. We appreciate good business. And we're thankful when you are good to the community. So thank you. That's our number one request.
Daniel,
Be
I
good
think
to the community.
there's a hand up.
Oh, go ahead. I don't know who it is. Oh, it's an iPhone. Go ahead. Whoever.
Daniel, this is Officer Morales. I don't know why my phone keeps
there you
kicking
go.
me out of the
There you go. Go ahead.
chat. But just completely off subject, real quick, just now during the holidays, we were out at Walmart the other day. Well, I was out at Walmart the other day on Thanksgiving. And just heads up, these thieves are walking around, just keeping an eye on whenever y'all leave y'all's car. Like if you leave it unlocked, if y'all leave your purses there, like if you leave I know it's getting cold. A lot of people leave their cars running, and it only takes them a couple of seconds to jump in your car and take it. So just, be careful on that. Also be mindful that whenever y'all go shopping, look around. If you see somebody that, you know, a car that follows you for a few blocks or a few turns, don't go straight home, you know, call 911 or just take a few other turns and just make sure that they're not following you. Again, you know, these people know that whenever now during the holidays, people go shopping, they're either going to have some money or some presents, gifts in the car. So just, you know, just for y'all to be careful, extra
Excellent.
cautious nowadays. Like we're seeing a lot of that stuff.
Excellent. Thank you
Super
so
bad.
much for those extra reminder. But just another thing real quick, we're going to start distributing those toys to the 4 schools that we mentioned earlier. That's going to start happening in the next week or so. If anybody wants to participate in that, we are actively collecting funds for that. So I will let you guys know if anybody wants to do that. They're welcome to participate.
Daniel, how is there a website, or how would people from the community find out about that?
I will post it and I'll share the information. And I'll make sure that you can get the information if you're interested. But it's definitely something. Where I was going with this, you already know that we're doing the toys. When we do the events at each one of the schools, I would love to have community participation, because Buckner Terrace, we're proud of our neighborhood. We're proud of our schools. Every one of these schools are some of the top-notch schools in DISD at this point. Edna Rowe is becoming a Montessori next year. It's the #1 school in DISD for the climate survey as of this year. Guzik is becoming an IB school. Silverstein is not, they're #5 on the climate survey. And they're undergoing 100% renovation right now. Bales Elementary is slated for a renovation, but they've also become a specialty campus choice school as well. So all of our schools have rock star principals at them right now. So let's always support our schools, folks. Let's be proud of them. Let's talk them up. Let's get some great neighbors coming in some of these vacant houses. So with that being said, anybody else have any questions? Somebody told me that we needed to wrap this up.
We do have District 7 Zoo Day. Everyone on December 10th. You can bring your family, your friends, your kids, whoever comes with you. All you need to do is be a District 7 resident to register. And if you, Daniel.
Yep.
Can you put this into the chat? There's a link. It's also on our Facebook page. But please come out, enjoy a free day at the Dallas Zoo.
I will definitely. Thank you for that reminder, Councilman. You know, as the park board person, you know, that should have been what we led off with, but you know, I failed this evening. But
we had a full agenda. It's all good.
I know, right? And I think we had some great dialogue. I think that everybody's concerns are valid. I think that, you know, we need to definitely discuss farther and, you know, get the good neighbor agreement stuff in the works and see where we can do. And then we will follow up with that. So I will send out the link for the zoo. The Enchant is at Fair Park. If you haven't gone to that, it's spectacular. It's a new location at the park this year. And then the Zoo Lights is back to a walking event around the zoo. So if you haven't, I'd recommend that you check those out. And I'm going to send you another one. There's a farm event, Christmas at the Farm. And do you guys know where Samuel Farm is? It's at just past Beltline on Highway 80. They're doing a major event out there. It's called Christmas at the Farm. I'll send the link for that as well. And it's an absolutely wonderful event. They're doing a lot of school camps. And there's a lot of really cool things out there. So
that was my stomping grounds when I was a kid. I grew up about a mile away from there.
It's been there for a long, long, long time, y'all.
Older than me.
I know, right? So excellent. So if anybody doesn't know what Samuel Farm is, it's like a 650-acre farm that was willed to the City of Dallas Parks and Recreation Department several years ago. It redefined the largest land donation of parks, and it put Dallas on the map as one of the biggest park systems in the country. And we're continuing to grow that with our current council, being supportive. We finally have a council member that is absolutely park centric and is investing in our parks in many different directions. If everybody knows, we have a new park coming into the neighborhood where Timberlawn used to be. I think it's a 3-acre park that is going to be built out there in the near future with the dog park. That is one of his requirements. So I think that, we're going to have some pretty cool amenities coming to the neighborhood real soon. So the musical instruments, check it out at Everglade Park. They're supposed to be installed any day. So anybody sees it before I see it, please text me a photo. So, all right. With that being said, I don't see any hands up. The time is 8:46 and we'll entertain a motion for dismissal. Anybody?
Merry
So
Christmas,
moved.
everyone.
Mr. What? All right. Mr. Jesse,
Second.
seconded by Councilman Basil Dua, because he's a due-paying member of the Buckner Terrace Homeowners Meeting or Association. So thank you all very much. We appreciate it. And happy holidays. We are going to do the police department for Christmas Eve. If you have not, if you would like to donate to that cause, we are collecting. You can go to bucknerterrace.org/donate and donate towards our holiday fest with the police officers. We do the fire station at Thanksgiving, and we do the fire department or the police department at Christmas. So you still have time to participate in that. So thank you all very much. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. We'll see you in January, everyone.
Good night.
Bye, y'all. Good night. Thank y'all.
Merry Christmas early.
Merry Christmas. Bye.